Welcome back to another edition of the Forts Athletics Life and Coaching Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Charles, and we're at Forts Athletics. We equip coaches and athletes with the tools they seek out in order to achieve their unique and specific goals. And we are recording on Monday afternoon, November 11th. It's a little after 4:30 here on the East Coast. It's getting dark. Oof. Not looking too good. It was a little chilly this morning. It's only a couple degrees warmer right now. And I wanted to follow up from yesterday's video and some other short snippets that I shared today about life and trajectory, life and trajectory, and moving forward and just life, right? So a couple of years ago, a sports psychologist, mental performance coach, Lee shared something about attending a funeral and have people sometimes are afraid to move forward with life and what they want to accomplish and their goals and pursue interests and hobbies because of the fear of what others might think of them and think about them. And he said, well, I mean, we're not coming to your funeral, so what's the difference? And yesterday leaving our thing there, our funeral, it made me think a lot about that again, and how in conversations that I have with my college kids that think about wanting to pursue post-collegiate throwing, having a fear of, well, I need to get a full-time job and I need to do this and I need to do that. And I don't know, it's really interesting sitting on this side of the aisle and encouraging somebody to pursue something where 100% of their accomplishments are really going to be on them. But then to also share with them that they're going to wake up and be 40 one day and not be able to go back in time and pursue those dreams. And a couple years ago, that was a sentiment shared by pretty much everybody I interviewed for that speaker series of podcasts with world champions from a multitude of sports, pretty much sharing that if I asked what their advice was to others. Pursue your dreams, pursue your goals, keep moving forward. Who cares what anybody else thinks? And I think that is a strong message. It's very powerful. To be honest, I wish I would have had somebody in my life like that about 18 years ago or so to encourage to keep moving forward in that direction. Not that I'm not happy with the kids today and things like my own kids, but how things might have been different with training and jobs and decisions and where to go to school and grad school and all these different little decisions that in the moment, you might not think are as important as they really are until you look back and it's like, if I would have applied for this job, or if I would have took the flyer and gone to grad school at this school instead of this one, or if I would have, broadened my horizons and went to a different state, all under the security of knowing that I could have came back, right? Like, I don't think my parents were going to kick me out of the house. If I decided to go to grad school far away and things didn't work out and a job didn't work out, like, there's that, like, safety net, right? So you can still make those decisions and try and, accomplish things. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But then there's that little bit of doubt that creeps in. And it tells you that you can't, or you won't, or you're afraid, or you have something holding you back, right? Significant other, you already job here, whatever it is. But then you can't go back and recapture that lightning in a bottle either. And that's what I'm afraid of, more so for the current group of athletes that I work with. That fear, that angst of, well, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. You're 22. Like, it's not the end of the world. You tried being post-collegiate thrower, or you went to grad school in a different state to pursue a degree, and you come back and you realize you're not interested in pursuing that type of career anymore. Okay, so you're 24, big deal, right? Just go to another grad school or try and figure something out. Because like I share even with my older athletes now, or the kids that I coached early on in Fredonia that are calling with these same, types of life questions and decisions. Well, for some they're not married, some they don't have any kids, some they're not married and don't have any kids, and it's like you can do whatever you want. Just pick up and get a job someplace else, right? Like, in my mind, I know it's much more difficult than just saying that out loud. But when you have a family and multiple children, and your spouse is secure in their job or whatever it is, it might be a little bit more difficult to just pick up and move. But for the ones who don't have that, who are single, or are dating somebody but you're not married, and you have all this, you don't really have that in your life, you can try and move forward with something. And Lee's words, they really struck me back then, and they hit me even harder yesterday in the moment of when it comes time, when it's our time, right? I don't know if we're going to be afraid of what other people thought or be thinking about that. My grandfather passed away. I don't think he was worried about, did he work too much? Did he not spend enough time with us? Like, I don't know. I just think it's an important message. I think it's important for people in our care, like athletes in our care, right? That we help support and guide and just lead in a certain direction where they want to go. To have these types of conversations. But for the ones that have it and don't, that really concerns me, because it's almost as though they're settling and they'd rather have that out than put all the chips in the middle of the table, if you will. And I shared that the other day, and I got a message from a couple of former athletes saying that's, really strong or powerful coach. But I think it is, right? Like, you're going to move across the country and you're not going to go all in 100%. So you can leave yourself a little bit of an out, or you were homesick, or like whatever your excuse is. Like, why would you do that? Why would you put forth all that effort and all that time to not give it your all? And then if things don't go well, then you have the opportunity to say, well, it didn't work out. I was too far away from home, or I did this, or I did that. Like, I don't know. It just seems kind of silly to me. Not foolish, but just, to speak the words that I could have, but it's just, I don't know. Maybe it's my age now and where I am at this point in my life, and I just thought it was really important to reiterate, from yesterday, that nobody else really cares. Nobody cares that you want to be a post-collegiate thrower. Nobody cares that you want to be a power lifter. Nobody cares that you want to do all these great things. Maybe your parents care, right? If you have a support system like that, maybe you have a coach, your coach cares, your siblings, your significant other, depending on how that relationship is going. But for the most part, I don't think other people are, doing the Instagram stalk or Facebook or Twitter or TikTok or whatever, keeping tabs. Because they might be keeping tabs from afar, and they might be thinking to themselves, wow, I really wish I had the gusto to make that decision and move forward, because I'm willing to bet that deep down for some of those individuals, they're thinking, I wish I could have done that, or I wish I would have done that. And if you fail, just like with anything, then at least right? I fail all the time with the papers that I submit for publication. Some you submit, and some journals have like a 10% publication rate, or 15% publication rate, and it's like, right? So it's almost like a guarantee that you're not going to get published. However, if you don't submit the article, then it's never going to get published. And it's relatively safe, right? You just submit a paper, a couple people that you don't know read it, that are experts in that field, or I don't know, hitting a quota of some duty and service to be a reviewer for a journal, and they ultimately decide your fate, which that's a conversation for another day. But when I was at the U of R, told me that my career as a researcher, as an educator, I'm going to be judged on how many articles I write and how much grant money I receive, that leaves a lot to be desired. Because what about everything else? Are you a good teacher? Or do you make a positive impact in the students' lives that are sitting in your lecture hall? Or if I publish 2 papers a year that 5 people read, my parents and my brother, that makes me a better researcher than somebody else. I don't know. We're getting off track here. I guess ultimately what it comes down to is I encourage anybody who's going to watch this, who's going to listen, who might watch this longer YouTube video or whatever, really move forward. Decide where you want to go and figure out a plan on how you can get there. And if you don't have anybody in your life that you think you can trust to help you figure out that plan, shoot me a message. I'll help you set up a plan, regardless of what you might want to pursue in your life or what your endeavors are. If you don't have that somebody, I'll be that somebody for you. I didn't have that person in my life. I think everyone needs to have somebody who's going to be their proverbial cheerleader, their coach, somebody who's going to hype them up, that is going to help support them as best they can. And if you don't think you have that person in your life, I'll be that person in your life. I'll help you up. I'll help you get where you want to go, because I think it's important. And I think once you set a path for yourself, get moving forward on that path, right? No one's going to help you with anything else. It's ultimately you. You alone are the one that is going to be accountable for your successes and your failures, not successes. So I encourage you to do that. I encourage you to move forward. I encourage you to send a message if you don't have anybody and you want to talk more about whatever it is that you want to accomplish. Let me know. Send me a message on here. Send me a message via email, via Instagram, whatever, I'll be your hype man. I'll get you where you want to go. Thank you very much for listening to this episode of the Forts Athletics Life and Coaching Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Charles Inferna, and have a great day.